You know, in day trading, everybody's looking for that one thing, right? That edge. But what if that edge isn't some secret strategy, but it's actually a choice? A choice between two totally different ways of thinking. So today, we're gonna dive into these two paths to profitability, following a super precise blueprint versus, well, honing a personal craft.
All right, let's just jump right in with the big, scary question that's on everyone's mind. I mean, we've all heard that crazy statistic, right? That something like 90% of traders just don't make it. But why? Really, why is that? What is the hidden trap that gets so many people?
Well, when you really look at it, the reasons are surprisingly simple. It's not some big mystery. First off, traders just overcomplicate everything. They get lost in a sea of indicators and jargon, or they dive into the market without any clear plan, no rules whatsoever. And then there's what I call shiny object syndrome. You know, jumping from one strategy to the next, never really mastering a single one. Come on, does any of that hit a little close to home?
So this whole struggle, this constant search for something that works, it brings every trader to a kind of crossroads. And it's right here that you have to pick a path. And the solution, believe it or not, usually comes down to just committing to one of two fundamental approaches to the market. So let's check out the first one.
Okay, so path number one is what we're calling the blueprint. I want you to think of this like an engineer building a bridge. It's all about a systematic, repeatable, almost robotic process. It's designed to be executed perfectly, the same way every single day. And this quote right here, it just nails the whole blueprint philosophy. The idea is that complexity is your enemy. So instead of trying to be a genius who understands every little market wiggle, the goal is to master just one simple, profitable pattern, and then have the discipline to only trade that one setup. That's it. Now, a really key piece of many of these blueprint strategies is something called a fair value gap, or FVG for short. Basically, it's just an imbalance, an inefficiency in the market. And a blueprint trader doesn't see this as just random noise. No way. They see it as a very specific, identifiable signal, something they can actually build a whole strategy around.
So how do you take a concept like the FVG and turn it into an actual tradable plan? Well, here's a perfect example. This A+ strategy is the definition of a rigid blueprint. Look at the steps. Step 1, you only trade after a specific time, 9:30 a.m. New York time. Step 2, you look for a very specific pattern on the 5-minute chart. Step 3, you drop down to the 1-minute chart. And step 4, you execute only when you see a specific confirmation there. You see, there's almost no room for guesswork.
So when it comes down to it, the whole goal of the blueprint path is to take you out of the equation. Your feelings, your gut instincts, your fear, all of it. Success here isn't about being a clever analyst. It's about being a flawless executor. Just follow the plan. All right, now let's switch gears completely and look at path number 2. This is going to feel totally different. We're calling this one the craft. And if the blueprint is for the engineer, the craft, that's for the artisan, the sculptor. It's all about discretion, about really internalizing the principles of how markets move, and then developing the skill to read the chart in real time.
And just like before, this quote here really captures the soul of the craft philosophy. See, the focus isn't memorizing a rule book. It's about practice, practice, practice. Training your eyes and your hands to develop a real feel for the market. It's about training your brain to see the subtle stuff, the patterns that a rigid black and white system would just completely miss.
So a core idea in this craft approach is understanding market behavior, principles, not rules. Like this 2 attempts principle. Now this isn't some strict buy here, sell here signal. It's more of a guiding idea. The market almost never turns on a dime. It usually makes a first attempt, which fails, and that sucks in all the amateur traders, and then it makes a second, more serious attempt. And you can see that principle right here. The trader who follows the craft, they learn to ignore that first, really tempting signal to jump in. They have the patience, the discipline, to wait, to let the market show its true intentions, because they know that the second attempt is where the real, high-probability trade is usually hiding. So you can see the goal here is the complete opposite of the blueprint. Instead of trying to remove the trader from the equation, the craft is all about developing the trader into the system. Success comes from your skill at reading the story of the chart, understanding the context, and then using your judgment to apply your principles.
Okay, so we've got these two completely different philosophies on the table. One's all about being a machine, the other is about being a master craftsman. Let's put them head to head now so you can really see the contrast.
All right, this table really breaks it all down for us.
First, the method. The blueprint is purely rule-based. Do this, then do that. The craft, it's principle-based. It gives you ideas, not commands. Next, the focus. The blueprint trader is laser-focused on one thing, finding their A+ setup. The craft trader is focused on the big picture, the whole market context. And finally, how you get better. With the blueprint, it's about memorizing a system. With the craft, it's all about practice, practice, practice to build a genuine skill.
Okay, this brings us to what is, honestly, the most important part of this whole conversation. Because sure, we've laid out the two paths, but which one is for you? How do you find an edge that actually clicks with who you are?
Well, the answer really comes down to one thing: knowing yourself. Ask yourself, do you love structure? Do you need checklists and super clear rules to function at your best? Does a process that takes all the guesswork out of it sound like a relief? If you're nodding your head, then yeah, the blueprint path is probably calling your name. But what if you're someone who enjoys the gray areas? You like reading between the lines, developing a gut feeling for things over time? Then hey, maybe the path of the craft is where you truly belong.
And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. All that arguing online about which strategy is the best, it's a total waste of time. Because listen, the most profitable strategy on planet Earth will absolutely fail for you if it doesn't match your personality. Real lasting success in this game isn't about finding the perfect system. It's about finding the perfect system for you.
So I'll leave you with one final question to think about. When you think about your trading edge, is it a map? A detailed turn-by-turn guide to get you to one specific place? Or is it a compass, a reliable tool that helps you find your own way, no matter how wild the terrain gets? Your answer to that question? Well, that'll tell you which path you were always meant to walk.